Hey everyone, in this video I've got some relatively bad news for Lucid stock investors. The company announced its production and delivery figures for the second quarter that were disappointing to say the least. So in this video I'll highlight those figures, I'll go over what that means for investors, I'll compare it with previous quarters figures, and then we'll look at what it will mean for Lucid stock investors. So let's get right into it. Lucid said that it produced 2,173 vehicles in the second quarter in Arizona, and then it delivered 1,404 vehicles in the same period. Now, when we compare that to the previous quarter, they produced 2,314 vehicles and delivered 1,406. So delivery figures down by 2 and production figures down by nearly 200. So really ramping down here for Lucid, which is surprising because this is a up and coming growing company that's trying to ramp up and grow its production and delivery, and this quarter was, you know, quarter over quarter it was not growth at all. Now, management did mention after the first quarter's results that right now production is not its constraining point, right? Before, let's say like last year, middle of last year, they had more demand than they can produce. So they had an imbalance from supply and demand on the supply side. But now they've got supply up, they've got production capacity up, but demand did not keep up with the supply increases, which is troubling because it doesn't matter if you increase supply if you don't have demand. It's actually wasteful to increase supply without the increase in demand. So Lucid has some work to do to entice customers, to spur customer demand so that it can return to growth here. You see, investors were disappointed in the figures that came out today. The stock is down almost 12% on the news of these, flat quarter over quarter figures. And if you look at the company's revenue growth, that's the kind of explosive growth that investors were looking for, but instead they're getting this kind of downward trend, which is a bit disappointing. And for me personally, it's a bit disappointing because I'd like to see more of Lucid's cars on the road. They've got one of the nicer looking EVs in existence today. Now, I follow a lot of the EV companies, and Lucid's vehicles are by far my favorite in terms of the way they look. They are just incredible when I see them out on the road, better looking than any of the EVs I've seen. And so I'm really rooting for this company, hoping that it can grow and become more mainstream and have more sales because I'd like to see more of these cars on the road. They are just awesome. All right, so for investors, this not only is it a quarter over quarter flat, but now if you look at the year so far, they've only got about 2,800 deliveries and about 4,300 production, and they were aiming for something between 10,000 and 4,000 production. The way the first half of the year looks, it does not look like they're going to meet the targets they set out for 2023. So that's additionally what's driving the stock price lower, is investors realizing, you know what, doesn't look like Lucid's going to meet the target for the year. It looks like they might need to downgrade those assumptions unless when the quarterly earnings conference call, which will be held on July 4th, unless management comes on and says, look, we know the second quarter, first quarter hasn't been great, but looking forward, the third and fourth quarter, it's going to increase, and we are confident that we're going to meet our target. If management comes out and says that, the stock price will recover as a result. But that seems unlikely at this point, given the first and second quarter's results. But I'm hoping for the best here for Lucid stock investors. But that's all I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.